Gospel according to Mark, the 13th chapter. Now, as Jesus was going out of the temple courts, one of his disciples said to him, "Teacher, look at these tremendous stones and buildings." Jesus said, "Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone will be left on another. All will be torn down." So while he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, opposite the temple, Peter, James, John, and Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign that all these things are about to take place?" Jesus began to say to them, "Watch out that no one misleads you. Many will come in my name saying, 'I am he.' And they will mislead many. When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. These things must happen. But the end is still to come. For nation will rise up in arms against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places, and there will be famines. These are but the beginnings of the birth pains." The gospel of the Lord. You may be seated. Baghdad, then Beirut, then Paris. It's been a rough week. It's been a brutal week. And then our appointed gospel for the day says this: "When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed." I'm alarmed. I mean, if you want to be honest about it, I'm alarmed. 130, 150, I don't know what the total is yet. I'm not sure they do. And they may not know for a week, because some people are in critical care, of what happened in Paris. They went into places where people were enjoying themselves and shot them dead. Across the street, people were dining with friends, just having a nice evening out of the town. And they just fired through the windows. It's horrifying. It's terrifying. That's why we call them terrorists. It is terrifying. And we have this apocalyptic, big fancy church word, apocalyptic verse for today that tells us this is just the way it is. Where's the gospel? Do not be alarmed. I don't find any comfort in that. Do not be alarmed. It's especially unnerving for me when we take a look at how this thing was opened up, how this whole verse was opened up. Do you see these great buildings? Not one stone will be left on another. All will be torn down. There's no comfort in that. I mean, I think about, the mall in Washington, D.C., where we have the Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial, Jefferson Memorial, the Vietnam Wall, the Korean War Memorial, World War II Memorial. Not a stone will be left on stone. That's uncomfortable. I love this little church. I really do. I haven't been here this long. I love this little chapel on the run. It is a beautiful little church, full of beautiful people. But not a stone will be left on another. And I think if we're perfectly honest, that's our fear. That's closer than we want it to be. That this building, not a stone, will be on another. It keeps us awake at night. It disturbs us. I know it disturbs my prayers. The idea that someday, I don't know when, there may not be a St. Matthew's on the run. That's a sad day. Where's the gospel? Where is the good news in this lesson? These are but the beginning of the birth pains. That's the beginning of the good news. We spend a great deal of time and effort in almost every Christian church talking about the season that is about to come, Advent and Christmas, and the birth of Christ, the coming of Christ. And that is, was, and will be good news. In this time where we are stuck between Christ and between Christ, Christ is with us. When we are unnerved, Christ is praying with us. When we are sad, Christ is with us. When we are worried about our future, Christ is with us. When we are put to tears or put to our knees because not one stone will be left on another, Christ is with us. And that is good news, to know that the great comforter of all is with us. Not just when things are glorious and when things are comfortable and when pews are filled and joyful noises are ringing through the rafters. Christ is not just present here. Christ goes home with us in the car. Christ is in our house. Christ shows up every Sunday to feed us, nourish us, love us, and forgive us, and put us back on our way. What we haven't done in a good job in the church since I've been part of it, and this is not just Lutherans, but you get into the media and all that stuff outside. We do not look at the second coming joyfully. We've been taught to read Revelations and it's going to be horrifying. Most of us here, I think, in this room are children of the Cold War. We spent decades in the Cold War. And I remember the drills. I remember that siren going off and all of us being taken down to the cafeteria in the basement of my elementary school. And there's no good news in that. That's unnerving. And somehow that became our idea of apocalypse, became our idea of the end of times, was a nuclear war and the cold winter that was followed. We bought into it. That the end of days is going to be awful, but that's not what's promised to us. What's promised to us is not another eye will shed a tear. What's promised to us is no longer a transcendent God that is both there and here, but a fully present God here for the rest of eternity. What is promised us is all our loved ones will be raised from the grave and be brought back to us. Full resurrection. That's the promise of the second coming. A world without strife. A world filled with peace. A world filled with love, grace, and mercy. Today, it is scary. Today can be scary. What happened in Paris can happen all over. They just proved it. And it is disturbing. But please don't paint this as the image of the end of the world. That's the beginning of the end. The good stuff is coming. The best stuff is on its way. Christ has died. Christ is living. Christ will come again. That's what we call, that's what we speak, right? Don't fear the end. Don't fear the end. It may be all of us will be dust in the grave. And there will be no stone left on stone in all of the Ohio Valley when Christ returns, because we don't know when. But when Christ returns, it is the ultimate good news.